Now we're going to talk about flipping properties, whether it's a house or a commercial building or even land. You know, buying and reselling is flipping. So with land, it's almost like a wholesale. You buy it and you resell it. You can sell on the back end land, buildings, or houses. You can sell them on owner finance terms where you buy it and you turn around and owner finance that back out on the back end. Depending on what you want to do, that's a great strategy with mobile homes. You can get mobile homes for almost nothing and then turn around and create a note and sell those on terms on the back end. Same thing with houses. And then you can take in enough payment to where it pays it off free and clear for you. And then you have the cash flow coming in at the back end. So that's a whole nother strategy. But flipping traditionally refers to flipping houses. There's a couple of things you want to keep in mind when flipping houses. Okay, if you're going to buy a house, renovate it, and sell it, a couple of things you want to do. Number one, you do not want to over improve the house. You need to make sure that you know what your comps are, you know what the values are in the area, and you know what that house is going to sell for. If you're in a really hot area, you might be able to push the sales price a little bit, but I always like to come in under market value just a little bit to create a competitive buying situation, to create competition so you get multiple buyers looking at the house. Now, one of the things that you want to do in order to grow and scale a flipping business, you want to find turnkey contractors, whether you are subcontracting yourself and you're managing the subcontractors. You want them to be turnkey, to supply all the materials, all the labor, whether it's whatever it is, painting, kitchens, flooring, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, all of those things, roofing, siding, landscaping. Let your subcontractors supply the materials. Let them go ahead and make a little profit. They're going to buy it for about the same price that you're going to buy it for anyways. By the time you pay them a markup, it still works out about the same. So you're really not going to save a ton of money buying materials and buying products yourself. Maybe light fixtures, you might be able to save a little money on that, you know, with the way it is online. But even light fixtures, I'll let the electricians supply that. I'll let them go to the supply house and get that. If there's any issues, warranty, damage, whatever, they have to handle it. They have to run back and forth, not you. So if you want to do that initially, if you're only doing a couple of projects, you want to kind of do all that stuff yourself, that's fine. But if you want to grow and scale a business, you got to sub everything out turnkey. And then ultimately you want to have a contractor that handles all of the subcontractors turnkey. Let them manage the job for you in the process for you. So what you want to do is you want to create a detailed specification sheet. So you want to have all of your selections very detailed with pictures, with SKU numbers, everything that you want in that house, all your paint colors, your light fixtures, your plumbing fixtures, your roofing samples, your siding, your kitchen cabinets and tops, your appliances, your floor coverings, your tile, all of your finishes, everything dialed in, even all the way down to your cabinet hardware, dialed in, all of your door hardware, hinges, all that kind of stuff, the style of doors, the trim scheme if you're doing trim, everything that you're using in that house, all of the parts and pieces, you want to have that dialed in. You want to have it spec'd out, detailed out, so that there are no questions, exactly what you expect and what you want in that house. That way all your contractors can give you turnkey pricing. Once you know your prices and you get pricing from your subcontractors, you can create standardized pricing based off of all of those specifications. And so that you'll know that roofing cost X, kitchen and cabinets and countertops cost X in a house, you know, floor coverings are X. And all the little labor components, you can get all that standardized. And if you have any trouble estimating what a project will take, you have to get the going rate for labor in your area. For like carpenters, it's generally 25 bucks an hour. 2 men can generally handle anything that goes on. 2 carpenters that are tooled up, that's 25 bucks an hour that you pay them. So 50 bucks an hour, 2 guys. If it's to open up a wall between the kitchen and the dining room, that's generally going to take about 4 hours to get that down, get it out of the house. 2 guys, 50 bucks an hour, 4 hours, that's $200. So maybe you estimate it at 250 bucks. That's standardized pricing. You get them to agree on it. So that's kind of how you work out project-based applications. You don't want to do anything by the hour. That's where misunderstandings happen. People feel like one person's not doing enough, the other one's doing, you know, not doing enough. So that's where you can create problems. So you want to make sure that you have detailed specs. You want to make sure that you have standardized pricing. Do not pay deposits. Don't pay anybody up front. You can pay people as soon as they finish the work and you check on it and make sure it's done according to your specifications. You always want to hold a little retainer on bigger projects just to make sure any kind of punch work is done after the fact. But if it's a simple in and out, kitchen cabinets, countertops, all that are set, everything's good, you can pay for that in full. But don't pay for anything up front. Pay as you go. Write a check. Tell them, look, I'll write a check on the spot as soon as you're done. I'm just not going to pay you in advance. And sometimes you have to work your way through a number of contractors before everybody trusts each other and you build your reputation. They get used to you and your system. And then once you get rolling, you can pay every week, pay all of your subs, all your vendors every single week. Usually you pay them on Friday, and the way I always did it was you turn your bill in this week, you get paid next week. So that way we can go out and approve the work, make sure it's done right, and then we pay them every single week so the subcontractors don't have to wait. So that keeps everybody motivated. The only control you have over a contractor is the money. So never pay in advance, never pay for work that hasn't been done. If there are material deposits required, you can pay the supply house directly and write them a check directly for the cost of those materials. No overhead, no markup, no profit, just the exact cost. So that will help with those situations when you're flipping a house. Now, the other thing, as I said, that you want to make sure that you don't do is you don't over improve the house. So you don't want to put things in the house that are going to drive the cost up beyond what you can recoup. Generally, curb appeal is one of the biggest returns for your money. The house has to look really good on the outside. Most buyers decide within a few seconds pulling up to the house whether they're interested or not, just based on what it looks like on the outside. So make sure you know what the popular colors are in your area inside and out, what the landscaping should look like, what the finishes should look like. And the way to judge that is you look at what other flippers and rehabbers are doing in the area, talk to some realtors, go to some subdivisions of new construction, see what the builders are building, what the popular trends are in your area. Different areas have different things going on. The West Coast is different than the East Coast. Colder climates are different than warmer climates. So you want to make sure, like Florida is going to be different than Arizona, or Florida is going to be different than New England. So you want to make sure that whatever you're doing is appropriate for the area that you're doing it. It's kind of you want to do stuff that's neutral, that's not offensive to anybody. You never want to give anybody a reason to say no to your product or your property. Now, if you are just a design person and you're really into design and you want to push the limits, well, yeah, it's up to you. So that's your thing. You can definitely do that. But in general, you want to keep everything neutral. You want to keep it open where everybody's going to like it. Kind of like the stone behind me here, right? That's a great neutral finish that you could use pretty much anywhere, any part of the country, and it'll work well. Now, if that stone was a different color, that might not be the case, right? So make sure you understand that, know that, do your research, make sure you know your comps, know what's working. You can also think in terms of adding value to a house in terms of space. Can you add a kitchen to it, a master bedroom and bathroom? Can you pop the lid off and go up? Those are different conversations, but sometimes an area will warrant that where the house is smaller and you can do a major renovation, add on to the house and really create some value. So you want to be open to that and be open to different ways to make a floor plan work, different ways to make the house live better. And you want to be up with the trends in terms of open floor plans versus private areas in the areas that you're in and what the buyers are looking for in those areas, so that you can make sure that you're going to be profitable and you always have enough room and margin. You want to make sure that you always have about 30% margin in the house. So when that house sells after you've paid all your commissions, all your closing costs, all of your materials and everything you want to net 25 to 30%. So if you kind of figure that into the mix as you're going into it, doing your estimates, calculating how much you could pay for a house, how much your renovations are going to cost, after the commission's closing, if you've got a 30% margin, that's going to give you room for error, and you're going to generally net 20 to 25% if you have a 30% gross margin going into it.